Hey neighbor, welcome back to the leak of my failed American Idol audition this week on 7 on Sunday. Now, here's Freebird. I don't think anyone wants to see that. Instead, it's time to ruffle some feathers by picking apart a batch of rock vocalists whose pipes just can't seem to deliver the goods in a live concert setting. Everyone has off nights or even rough patches due to vocal injuries or sickness. No one is saying that a singer can't bounce back or that they've got an easy job. The years on the road take a toll. But as of now, these 7 stood out to me as either consistently flat, out of tune, or hard to cringe through.
But John, who cares if they changed the keys if the singer had no energy, just stood there and let the crowd sing most of it? They're here for the fans!
Yeah, I'll start crying crocodile tears just as soon as they stop charging $200 for a nosebleed seat in the arena. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're lurking, and here comes our first contestant, Josh Todd. What happens when everyone else in the band leaves and you've got a frontman who is the only original member left, singing like he's half drunk, half couldn't give a fuck, reminding everyone of Wes Scantlin of Puddle of Mudd perhaps? Well, that is the story of Buckcherry and Josh Todd.
I'm sorry I'm bad, I'm sorry I'm blue, I'm sorry about all the things said to you.
There's 2 distinct eras of Buckcherry. One before the breakup in the early 2000s, where they had some pretty cool performances like Woodstock 99 that even as somebody who isn't a fan of the band can appreciate. And then they have the second era, where they put out their album 15, somehow blew up bigger than they ever were, and then started touring consistently. And despite having some okay performances at the likes of Crue Fest, things went downhill pretty fast as the members started to leave the band. His voice got progressively worse throughout the 2010s, becoming more and more strained, haphazard, letting the audience do all of the work for him. I think the only people that are still going to Buckcherry shows in the 2020s are the diehards that never really realized that there is better music out there. So PSA, you don't have to accept Josh Todd, you know? You don't have to keep forking over the money, because if you go, you're only gonna be disappointed. If you saw my video on bands that kinda suck live, you're probably wondering, why is Tom DeLonge here again? Didn't you already cover Blink-182? And of course, yes I did, but today we're talking about Angels and Airwaves. And what makes a difference there? Why would I expect anything else other than suckage live? Well, because Angels and Airwaves is Tom's baby, so you would think if he was going to put his gold into anything and shoot for the stars, it would be this? Pitch correction helps, and their 2021 live stream showed how much better Tom sounds with a little bit of rest and also some auto-tune. Inconsistency kills, and if there's one thing that I've noticed over the years, it's that Tom DeLonge is inconsistent as a live performer. So if you are planning to go to a concert, roll the dice on whether or not Tom's lyrics will actually be coherent. Jon Bon Jovi had one of the most distinct and powerful voices in rock in the 80s, 90s, and really into the 21st century. He was able to keep the momentum flying throughout his career, both with his solo stuff and with the band. The 2010s were not as kind to his voice, but they weren't unbearable. You could tell that the songs were being played sometimes in a very different key, but at least you could call it a key, unlike whatever the hell happened during the 2020s. We gotta hold on to what we got. It doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. Bon Jovi is now 60 years old, and I really appreciate his contributions to music, I do. but at this point, it seems like something is going on beyond just aging. Maybe it was something from an illness, as many fans have speculated. He had COVID-19 in the fall of 2021, and it seems like things have been bitterly different since then. The Silversun pickups are the band behind some of my all-time favorite songs, from Panic Switch to Lazy Eye. In the live concert setting, I think the band themselves actually kill it musically. Great bass lines, a lot of energy to the drums and guitar. And beyond that, I really think the problem lies in Brian Aubert, their frontman, who has never really had any vocal power in their concerts. He uses up a lot of his energy rocking out, and I really do respect how much they commit to actually putting on a performance and giving that aspect of the show 110%. But I don't think Brian has the type of voice that sounds very good if he's not 110% focused on just his vocals. Brian has what I call a studio voice. A gentle but at times ferocious set of pipes that can really explode when the song calls for it, but it's only with the meticulous workings of production and multiple takes that he's able to get it right, making the concerts feel a bit flat and inconsequential. Taking Back Sunday have been through numerous lineup changes. However, Adam Lazzara has been with the band since 2001 and has played on all of their studio albums dating back to Tell All Your Friends, but I really don't think he's sounded great live since the Louder Now era in the mid-2000s. God, just watching these clips back, it makes me realize how important Fred was in that band. He was technically a replacement for John Nolan, who eventually did come back alongside Sean Cooper, but I miss him. I miss Eddie Reyes, because at least they added something extra and were able to give some backing vocals that helped Adam sound stronger, as his voice really blew out during the late 2000s into the 2010s and never bounced back because he just doesn't take care of it. A rotating door of members has led to a loss of chemistry between the ones that actually do remain, and Taking Back Sunday at this point have just sounded flat for over a decade at their concerts. I feel bad for the fans who actually go out to see them hoping that Adam is going to do something to take care of his voice, but instead he's weighing them down like a ballast, sounding like he's on the brink of a vocal blowout, thanks in part probably due to poor technique, heavy smoking, and a variety of other factors. I have no clue what they would actually be. The testosterone-fueled band Motley Crue ruled the 80s with some unforgettable live performances that really blew away fans at the time, but by the end of that decade into the 90s, things really started to become clear that Vince Neil was not gonna hold on for the long run as a vocalist, as he now paces the stage with the grace of a wounded walrus. Listen, the man was never great. There's a lot of bad performances out there, even from their heyday, but it's fallen to these insane proportions to the point where it feels like Vince must be just sitting around watching old performances, and somebody else in the band, like Nikki Sixx, says, "You can't get any worse than that." Then Vince says, "Hold my beer," and limps back on stage to just do whatever it is that he does now. Gibberish, heavy breathing, more gibberish. That's what you're gonna get if you pay to go see Motley Crue at this point. And I've never really understood why these bands can't seem to give it up. You already retired once, just commit and stick to it, please. No matter who it is that I've talked to, the same conclusion was always drawn. Rob Zombie is fun to watch, but him vocally in a concert setting? Hell no, they're not good. White Zombie, Rob Zombie, doesn't matter. Same shitty results live at a concert that you probably paid a lot of money for, leading a lot of fans to feel very disappointed. I know many would argue that the stage spectacle and him as a showman comes first and foremost, and I would agree with that at least partially. Again, this is not somebody who was the best live vocalist ever, even in the heyday of White Zombie in the 90s. But throughout his solo career, it just continues to get worse. It's hard to watch some of these performances because it feels awkward, out of breath, a bit rambly, and just totally inconsistent, leaving the band to carry the bulk of the load, something that they don't always nail exceptionally well. Thank you guys for watching another episode of 7 on Sunday. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new in town. If you want to see more episodes that you might like, then tap the cards on screen. Leave a comment down below with the worst live concert experience that you've ever had, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.